It's hot. Climate change, stop. Like, no, seriously, stop. Okay, so disclaimer, what you're about to watch is a video that I filmed and edited last year. I had scrapped it. It would have never seen the light of day had I not watched this Kayla Says video. In the video, she talks about how we're all afraid of being vulnerable because we're worried about being cringe, so we never make things that we like. We never put ourselves out there for the world to see. So I decided to put this video out there and be cringe on purpose. The AC wasn't on when I filmed this, so I speak really slow, without any energy. I barely smile. I was so nervous being in front of the camera. So yeah, you have my permission to watch this in a faster speed if you'd like. I'm not smiling now much either. I'm just tired and it's just hot. Like, it's just as hot, if not hotter, than it was last year. I'll pop in every now and then to explain something that I failed to explain when I originally filmed the video. But yeah, here's me being vulnerable. Bye! A month ago, I saw the TV glow, and I can't stop thinking about it because I saw the TV glow. I really did. On Tumblr back in the day, we had this thing where, like, if you saw someone in real life acting a certain way or dressing a certain way that made you kind of think like, this person could be on Tumblr, you'd say, hey, I love your shoelaces. And if that person replied, thanks, I got them from the president, you'd know they were also on Tumblr. And I hate using the same tactic as Tumblr and speaking in code words, but I watch the Pink Opaque. Like, wow, that's literally me. If you haven't seen I Saw the TV Glow, this video's not gonna make much sense. So go watch it, come back, because there will be spoilers. And trust me, this is a movie you'll want to watch. I genuinely feel like it changed my life. I would look at people around me and be like, they know I'm in the midnight realm. Like, I don't know how to describe this. Like, the movie was literally made for me. Spooky children's media is one of my favorite genres. I've probably seen all of them in the genre, probably. Mostly the live action ones. And I've seen like a few people say that they wish the Pink Opaque was a real show. And I was like, my time has come. I can finally be annoying about kids shows that I love. I will be using my expertise on spooky tween television to gift you with a list of shows that are like the Pink Opaque. Now, I'll only be recommending shows that I have watched, not those that I haven't. For example, the director of I Saw the TV Glow has mentioned multiple times that the Pink Opaque is kind of based off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I haven't finished that show, so I can't talk about it. I can't put it in this list. Okay, so future self here. I've since watched all of Buffy. It's one of the greatest shows of all time. Of all time! Of all time. I would not have made this video if I had watched Buffy because it is the Pink Opaque. But I'm still not adding it to the list because I focus mostly on kids shows with this list because I wanted this video to feel like an escape from the dread of living in the midnight realm. And kids shows always deliver in that sense. And Buffy has a lot of serious and dreadful, dark moments in there, so I didn't put it on here for that reason. Although I see a lot of people mention that the Pink Opaque reminds them of Goosebumps, including Justice Smith, the actor who plays Owen in I Saw the TV Glow. I haven't included the Goosebumps TV show on here or a lot of shows based off of R.L. Stein's work because a lot of the episodes I've watched seem like cautionary tales. Like, they have really bad endings, like endings where the protagonist gets a bad ending or like the whole family dies. And I get it, that's like horror, but that's not really the horror I'm going for when I think spooky kids show. Like with endings where the protagonist gets a bad ending too, and the antagonist wins. I mean, I can't say this for like every episode, but most TV shows that are based off of R.L. Stein's work, they feel like they're in the midnight realm instead of the Pink Opaque. Because like the movie I Saw the TV Glow is a cautionary tale itself, and that's what makes the movie horrifying. The shows I'll be talking about have happy endings, What I meant here is that a lot of TV shows based on R.L. Stine's work have endings that are like, ooh, the horrible monster is still alive at the end. Like, the endings are overall mostly dreadful cautionary tales. So it feels like you're watching Owen living his life in the Midnight Realm. It feels like you're watching the movie I Saw the TV Glow, which is a dreadful cautionary tale about how some of us aren't being their true selves. As opposed to the Pink Opaque, where they have a Monster of the Week format like Buffy, where they defeat the monster at the end of every episode. Like, obviously, if you don't count Mr. Melancholy, like the big bad, I guess.
So yeah, if your favorite show isn't on here, either I haven't seen it or I just didn't feel like it fit this video. I'm sorry. Don't fight me. So disclaimer for all of these, even though I did watch them in adulthood and even though I did go to film school, I want to warn you in advance, I have apocalyptically bad taste. I do understand that like the Pink Opaque was more of a show for teens rather than like kids, or maybe like it's for like older tweens, and I do feel like maybe the older shows on this list might seem too childish, but I do know that at the time they were super scary for kids. But yeah, this video doesn't have any teen shows, so I'm sorry to disappoint. I'm going like least like the Pink Opaque and most like the Pink Opaque. So I've sorted this list by shows that aesthetically look like the Pink Opaque, shows that are serial-like, as in you'd have to watch the episodes in order. Like, it's not an anthology where every episode is different. Shows that, like the Pink Opaque, have girl power, shows that are centered around the power of friendship, shows that include people who have a strong connection to rainbows, and last but not least, how good I thought the show was. This will be done by taking the ranking I gave it on IMDb and minusing it by how many years ago I watched the show, which is like a terrible way to do math.
Yeah, sorry, this math system sucks. Just like go with it. It will make sense the more you watch it. Or not. Just go with it. I think I added it in there because some shows ended up higher on the list than what I thought they deserved, and I liked some more than others, so putting my personal rankings in there was important to change the scores, like to change the rankings. I don't know why I couldn't have just been like, trust me, bro, I had to put math in there so you guys would believe me. I don't know. Anyways, just go with it.
I don't know how to write introductions. That was really long. I'm sorry. Let's get into the video. Okay, number one, going in strong, we have the hit Australian children's television show and one of my favorites, The Nowhere Boys.
What are you doing?
It's pawpaw. That's fruit, right?
It's for itchy crotch.
So this is the plot. After being grouped together on a field trip and getting lost on said field trip in the forest, 4 mismatched teenage boys return to their town only to find out that they are in an alternate reality that is exactly the same as their world, except in this reality, they were never born. Out of the 4 boys, like one's a nerd, one's a goth, one's a jock/bully, one's a popular kid. So there's this like whole found family trope where they have nothing in common, but they have to like look out for each other because they essentially have like no one but each other. They have nowhere to go because no one recognizes them, like not even their parents because they were never born. There's magic, there's demons, and an overall mystery as to how they ended up in this situation in the first place. I want to say though that if you choose to watch this, only the first 2 seasons are good. There's a movie after the first 2 seasons and we hate her. We don't talk about her. The main cast changes like completely after the first 2 seasons and the movie, and I didn't really end up caring about them that much as I had for the first 4 boys. Sorry to the new cast, it's nothing personal. I mean, give the movie and the 3rd and 4th seasons a shot if you want to, but I personally didn't like the 3rd season, so I never gave like the 4th one a shot. But do whatever you want. I'm just saying that if you fall in love with the show after the first 2 seasons, don't expect to love the movie and the 3rd and the 4th season. How similar is it to the Pink Opaque? So Nowhere Boys was released in 2013, so obviously it doesn't really look like the Pink Opaque aesthetically, since the Pink Opaque is supposed to be a 90s show and has like a 90s charm to it. And like the Pink Opaque seems very like neon-y, but the Nowhere Boys seems like rustic and foresty.
Girl, I don't even know what I was talking about. I was just using words I learned from What Kind of Wedding Should You Have BuzzFeed quizzes from 2014.
All in all, in terms of looking like the Pink Opaque, it gets a 0. So is it serial-like? It's not an anthology, so like the Pink Opaque, you'd have to watch the show in order. It gets a 1 for being serialized? I don't know what the word is. Does the show have girl power? Not really. It kind of does in like later seasons, so I'll give it like a 1/4 of a point for it trying. Does the show have people who like rainbows? Not in the first 2 seasons, but maybe it's there if you squint. I think it's there in the later seasons, but I haven't seen the 4th season, so I wouldn't know. Does the show, like the Pink Opaque, have the theme of the power of friendship? Yes, heavily. So it gets a score for that. At the time I watched it, I gave the show an 8 out of 10 on IMDb, but that was 8 years ago, so we minus that by 8 and we get a 0. This is a really like messed up ranking system, but you just have to deal with the way my brain works. So overall, when you add that all up, you get a 2.25. Moving on to number 2, the cult classic 90s show, Erie, Indiana.
Sure, my new hometown looks normal enough, but look again. What's wrong with this picture? The American dream come true, right? Wrong. Nobody believes me. But this is the center of weirdness for the entire planet.
Thank you, little paper boy.
So here's the synopsis. Poor little Marshall Teller. His parents uproot him from his home in New Jersey. Then they move the whole family to Erie, Indiana, where nothing is as it seems. Strange things happen in Erie. However, only Marshall and his new friend Simon seem to notice. I love this show so much. I kind of went insane after watching it a couple of years ago because of all the lore. If you loved Gravity Falls growing up, you'll love this, because this show is one of the many things that inspired the creator of Gravity Falls, Alex Hirsch. Sadly, Erie, Indiana only lasted 1 season. There was a reboot called Erie, Indiana, The Other Dimension, but we hate her. We don't talk about her. Also, a young Tobey Maguire makes a cameo in an episode of Erie, Indiana. So how much is Erie, Indiana like the Pink Opaque? In terms of aesthetics, it's a lot like the Pink Opaque because of that spooky 90s charm. So I'll give it a point for that. You don't really need to watch the show in order, but you kind of do. So I'll give it like half a point for that. Does the show have girl power? No, absolutely not. Sorry, women. No people who like rainbows. Unless you squint. The power of friendship, It's not as great as the girls on the Pink Opaque, but it is there with like the 2 main protagonists, the 2 best friends on the show, so I'll give it like half a point for that because I don't really remember. And with my messed up math system of me giving it a 9 out of 10, minusing that by how many years ago I watched the show, which is 8. The show gets 1 more point, which gives it 3 points in total. If you end up watching this, I would say the episodes are like hit or miss, but the runtimes are short, and the show overall is short too, so you won't really have like a bad time watching it. Number 3, are you afraid of the dark?
You see us every week, but do you really know us?
Do you really know anyone?
Even yourselves? If you stare long enough, you might see a stranger here.
This is one of the shows that the director of I Saw the TV Glow has talked about. So the plot of this show, in super basic terms, is that a bunch of kids meet in the woods and tell each other scary stories. And we as the audience, we get to see the story being told, not the kids telling the stories. So like their stories play out in front of us. So it is an anthology in that sense, but it's not like Goosebumps, because even if the story the kids at the fire tell is a cautionary tale, once it's over, you're brought back to these kids telling the story. So it takes the scariness away from it. Like you snap out of it. Like it's a reminder to kids that like this isn't real. It's just a story. I mean, obviously the show isn't scary now. I mean, it was for kids back in the day, but not now. So the episodes, I don't want to say most, but like some are not very good. Not good at all. Really bad. I would say the first season is difficult to get through, but I kept watching because I'd heard of like specific episodes being good, and I'm glad I kept watching because some episodes were really fun and I go back and I rewatch them sometimes. There was also a reboot and that was really fun too. I actually watched the reboot first because the first season of the original 90s show was like, it was unbearable to get through. Like it literally feels like, the Superman scene in the movie when Owen goes back to watch the Pink Opaque and realizes it's not as scary or as gripping as he thought it was when he was a kid. But the reboot of Are You Afraid of the Dark isn't really like the Pink Opaque, so it's not in this list. I'm only talking about the 90s version of the show.
Because you sit in that movie theater for so long, you start to forget that the real world even exists. The only thing that seems real is the horror movie up on the screen. That's what my story's about. You know when you get really scared, you can always tell yourself that it's just a movie. But sometimes a movie seems so real that it's hard to tell the difference between what's make-believe and what's really there.
Getting into how similar it is to the Pink Opaque aesthetics, a point for that. Once again, it's the spooky 90s charm. Episodes are connected. No, not really. Not at all. Some are. Few are. Quarter of a point for that. Girl power. No, not really, unless you count like certain episodes, so half a point for that. People who like rainbows. Yes, if you count the reboot. No, if you count the 90s version. So I don't know what to answer. I mean, this monster that the director of I Saw the TV Glow mentioned slayed the house boots down a bit. So quarter of a point for people who like rainbows. The power of friendship. I don't know, like it is a bunch of friends who sit by the fire and tell each other scary stories, but I don't really get to see them bond much because the episodes are mostly based on the stories they tell. So quarter of a point for that. How good I thought the show was when I first watched it. 9 minus 5 because I watched it 5 years ago, so 4. So it's a total of like 4.5, I think.
And that calculation, ladies and gentlemen, is why I'm not in STEM.
On to number 4, So Weird.
Are Fridays feeling weird?
I'm scared.
Could be because tomorrow is the beginning of a whole new season of So Weird.
Are you okay?
With a never-before-seen episode of So Weird every Friday night. It's a new season of strange encounters. Come back! New nightmares. This is all just a dream. And many mysteries to uncover. So if your Fridays are feeling weird, you'll know why. Don't miss the start of a brand new season of So Weird. Tomorrow, starting at 7/6 Central, only on Disney.
The show is about a girl called Fiona as she tours America with her mom, who's a rock star. She has some strange encounters with the supernatural along the way, and it's almost as if the supernatural is drawn to her. Fiona, the main character, has like a cool website where she documents all her findings called So Weird, hence the name of the show. And like I feel like at the time, like, you know, having a laptop was like the coolest thing ever, and she has one, so I really love this show. Like even the episodes that aren't that good are still fun, are still enjoyable. The show is really dark and mature for 90s kids, and we don't really get children's television like that anymore, especially from Disney or let's say American corporations in general. To my surprise, I really liked it. I really loved it. I really enjoyed it as an adult. As much as you can like a show that's made for kids. The main actress of the show like leaves in season 3. Like season 2 ends pretty well, like you can stop the show there. In season 3, the main actress is like replaced by another actress. And then in season 3, the show stops being as dark and mature as it was, which I think was Disney's way of venturing into more lighthearted and comedic children's television to reach a wider audience. And I feel like that really ruined the overall vibe of the show, which is why I haven't seen the 3rd season to this day, except for like a couple of episodes. We need to have a conversation about why horror for kids is no longer really a think in like American media at least. So how much is it like the Pink Opaque? Aesthetic wise, it gets a point. I mean, I think it's not a 90s show. I think it's like a 2000s show. But yeah, it has sort of the same charm to it, the same 90s charm to it. So there's a point for that.
I forgot to talk about So Weird being somewhat serialized. Like, you don't have to watch the episodes in order, but it does help.
Girl power. 1 point for that. It stars a girl. People who like rainbows know I'm so sorry. Maybe if you squint. The power of friendship. No, it has to do like more with family. The power of family than it has to do with like the power of friendship. So 0 for that. How good I thought the show was out of 10. I gave it an 8 on IMDb. So minus that by how many years ago I watched it. So 5. I watched it like 5 years ago. So that's 4.
You guys, I done the calculations in advance. I don't know why they're wrong while I was filming the video.
Now on to the final show that's most like the Pink Opaque. The Australian 2023 TV show, Crazy Fun Park.
Good morning, Crazy Fun Park. Storms are brewing. You're gonna get wet, so you may as well get wild. Check out our shiniest attraction yet. Fruit Loop, this one's for you.
The story revolves around Chester, a teen whose best friend dies in an abandoned amusement park. Chester is devastated, but then he finds out that the abandoned amusement park comes alive at night, and so does his friend. Now this show blew me away. Like, why are we not making television like this anymore? Like, cinema. I had my head in my hands. Like, thank you, the country of Australia, genuinely. I'm not gonna tell you much about it, you're just gonna have to watch it. Aesthetic-wise, I would say not really like the Pink Opaque. Like, it doesn't have the 90s charm. Maybe some of the shots, like, if they're a bit, like, neon-y or, like, set in nighttime, maybe they kind of match the Pink Opaque. But, yeah, it's not really that similar aesthetic-wise, so, like, 1/4 point for that. Are the episodes connected? Yes, point for that. Girl power. There are some really, really great female characters and one incredible lead female character, but I would say the show mostly revolves around the main character and his best friend who died. So let's give it like a 0.5, like a half a point. Representation of people who like rainbows, yes. There are people who like rainbows on this show, but they're mostly like side characters. It's very minimal. Though you could say that like the two main characters have a really intense friendship. The thing is about this show, it's not only Chester's friend who comes alive at night, but also every other teen who's died at the amusement park. I was watching this show with people who are very anti-rainbow, like extremely anti-rainbow. If you catch my drift, they were like, why do all the dead teens have nail polish on regardless of their gender? Like, you fools, you absolute buffoons. These kids are dead. You want them to follow the concept of like gender? They're free to be whoever they want, act however they want, dress however they want. Weird societal structures don't exist in the afterlife. I do understand that putting on nail polish isn't like a huge deal or whatever, like you're not destroying gender norms if you like put on nail polish. But like, let's be honest, with the nail polish and like only the dead kids wearing it, it's like the implication is very much there.
My Crazy Fun Park rainbow score is 0.75. I forgot to mention it.
The power of friendship, yes, 100%. I gave the show a 10 out of 10, and I watched it less than a year ago, so I'll round it up to a year, which makes it like 10 minus 1 is like 9, right? Yeah, so it gets a 12.5. So I'm gonna conclude this video with two of my favorite fan-made I Saw the TV Glow videos. Up first, we have this Pink Pony Club Chapel Roan edit that blew me away. This came out when the song still hadn't really gone viral. Like, it was like just at the beginning of like when it was like going viral. At the time, this edit made me cry. Like, Instagram user Amvly, you're insane. But thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your service. Then there's also this fan-made video on YouTube to Psychic Wound by King Woman that was also on the soundtrack. I absolutely lost it watching this after watching the movie. Like, it still makes me go crazy. Like, I have to avoid clicking on it when it comes up in my recommendations. Like, I refrain from watching it because it'll make me cry. Links to both of these in the description, unless I forget to do that. Anyways, that's all for today. Bye.
I'm just paying my respects to my 2024 self by not letting this video gather dust on my hard drive. What kids shows feel like an escape from the midnight realm to you? Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna try posting on here more often, so like and subscribe.